If you want to level up and unlock the hottest, highest, and healthiest version of yourself, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to today's episode of Hot and Unbothered. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. If you are new here, my name is Brianna Gomez, and I am your host of Hot and Unbothered, the ultimate podcast for leveling up your life and unlocking the hottest, highest version of you. If you're just now finding my podcast, I am so happy you're here. Welcome. Leave a comment or a review letting me know how you found me, whether it's a Spotify recommended, YouTube homepage, TikTok, Instagram reel. Let me know how you're finding the Hot and Unbothered fam because I am so happy to have you here. Now, my typical content that you guys seem to enjoy is usually glow up based. I want to teach you guys how to level up your life, become the best versions of yourselves, your dream life. And I feel like so many people on social media, podcasts, YouTube videos, they talk about what you need to do. Follow a morning night routine, get 10,000 steps a day, 8 hours of sleep, stay off social media, stop comparing yourself, say your affirmations. But I feel like no one really talks enough about the ups and downs that it takes to get there, to the end goal. Because honestly, you could give someone the perfect recipe of what they need to do to unlock their highest selves, to achieve their dream lives. But in reality, everyone's path is different. Someone else's path is not the same as your path. Just because one person did X, Y, Z, and now they're a millionaire, doesn't necessarily mean you can do the exact same thing and become a millionaire. Everyone's journeys are so different. So yes, it is helpful to learn what other people are doing to be successful, to feel their best and look their best. But I feel like we don't really talk enough about how it makes you feel, the journey along the way, the ups and downs of everything, the parts where you feel like giving up, the parts where you're exhausted and you're tired and you don't want to do it anymore, where you think maybe this isn't the right path for me. There's so many different aspects and factors that play into it, and no one talks about it. So yes, I have plenty of episodes about the glow up, about how I got here, how I got a healthy mindset, how you can become that girl. But who would I be if I weren't being fully honest and telling you that there are days where I don't feel like that girl at all? There are days when I get so exhausted, when I don't want to be disciplined, when I don't want to be working so hard. Although some days I may be feeling like I'm on cloud 9, there are so many days where I wake up and I don't feel like that girl. And especially in a world where comparison is quite literally the thief of all joy, where you're seeing things on social media that might make you feel bad about yourself, that might make you feel bad about the place that you're at, the timing in your own journey. It's so easy to feel discouraged, or it's so easy when you're in that hustle mindset. You're working on being determined, you're working on being consistent and disciplined, but you get exhausted. It's okay to get tired sometimes. So today, in a nutshell, we're going to be talking about burnout, which is an unavoidable aspect on the journey to becoming your highest self. But before we dive into today's episode, you guys know I love to share a podcast review. Today we have Crystal, and she said, I really feel empowered by this episode. It really helped me reevaluate my life, and I think I'm now ready to detach myself from unnecessary friendships, regardless of how much it might hurt me. Good for you, girl. My last episode was about taking your power back, which can go into many different realms of your life, relationships, friendships, jobs, any kind of situation. So I'm so proud of you for doing what you need to do in taking your power back. I love seeing how you guys apply what you learned in the episode into your day-to-day life. I'm really trying to give you guys actual tangible advice that you can instantly take note of and implement in your day-to-day life. If you guys want a chance to be featured in next week's episode, make sure you leave a podcast review and let me know what other future topics you want to hear on the pod. Also, make sure to add me on all my socials at Brianna Gomez with 2 B's. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into burnout. So burnout is, when you're juggling so many things at once. And if you're like me and you're a girl with a lot of dreams or aspirations, a lot on your plate that you're trying to fulfill, a lot of goals, it is very easy to get burnt out. Because personally, I feel like when I have ideas that just pop into my head, I feel like I'm juggling them all at once. I feel like I want to accomplish my podcast, but I'm also trying to grow my TikTok and my Instagram, and I have my part-time job, and I need to work on my mental health, but I also need to work out and work on my physical health. I need to maintain my friendships and relationships and my family events. There's so many things going on, and it's impossible. Realistically, it's impossible to be fulfilling every single aspect of your life at one time. I know sometimes we think that we can do it all, but when you think that you are superwoman and you can do it all, which you are superwoman, like you are strong, you are capable, and I really admire your discipline and your attempt at balance and your hard work and how booked and busy you are. Like, you go, girl, but also you're gonna get burnt out. And some people say that burnout isn't real when you're doing what you love, and I agree, but like, you're still gonna get tired. Realistically, if you are so booked and busy that you are just go, go, go 24/7, you're gonna get exhausted. It's literally science. So burnout is real, but there are ways to still be productive and go about your life doing the things you love and following your dreams and goals, but with balance. Everything is good in moderation, and it's okay if you need to rest and relax sometimes. You know what? I want to look up the dictionary definition of burnout just so we can really understand what it fully means. Burnout is an ongoing state of feeling overwhelmed, fatigued, and emotionally drained due to consistent stress in your work, family, or social relationships. The symptoms of a burnout may be any of the following: feeling drained, not feeling able to cope, not being able to sleep, being sad, angry, irritable, or not caring, using more alcohol or other substances, getting heart disease, high blood pressure, or type 2 diabetes, and being more likely to get sick. So those are more of the prolonged side effects of burnout, but overall, if any of those things sound like you or have ever sounded like you may be experiencing burnout. I've gotten to the state of burnout where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to recover from this. Like, I don't even picture myself, my body, being able to make another day past this one. Not because I don't want to, but because my body is so physically drained and I'm so mentally drained. Like, I don't even know how I'm functioning. I'm honestly in autopilot at this point. Like, lights on, no one home, autopilot. She's operating somehow, but it's not feeling good. Let's talk about other ways to identify when you are experiencing burnout. For me personally, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I will use today as the perfect example because I got in my car and I just started crying. And I was exhausted, and there were like small little triggers that, yeah, they could have bothered me, but they were nothing to cry about. Don't cry over spilt milk, but I was crying. This was literally like an hour ago. I'm not gonna act like, this was just so much earlier today. Like, no, I want to be so transparent with you guys because I feel like I preach the hustle and I preach the glow up and staying disciplined because yes, I do, and self-love and everything, but a huge part about self-love is being patient with yourself and being gentle with yourself. And those are also huge characteristics of being in your divine feminine energy. This is a whole other tangent that I need to get into in another episode I want to do about feminine energy. But you know, you're in your masculine energy when you're at that hustler mindset, when we're at that go, 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 which is good. And masculine, it doesn't mean it's only for boys. I just mean those levels in your energies. We have both. Every human being has both feminine and masculine traits. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I love a girl boss moment. I love working hard. I love work ethic. That's something that I've always had within me. But you need to let it balance and counteract with your feminine energy. And your feminine energy is about rest. It's about taking time to yourself to heal and be patient and gentle with yourself. And if you're not flexing that muscle, your feminine muscle, you are going to be so off balance because you're going to have all that masculine high drive, go, 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 and no healing or rest or gentleness to counteract that. Because like I say with everything is good in moderation. Work hard, play hard. You know, if you are working all week long, you deserve a break. You deserve a restful weekend. You deserve a vacation every now and then. Or, you know, if you're eating super duper healthy and you're killing it at the gym, one little cookie or day off or rest day is not going to hurt you. In fact, a rest day is just as important, if not more, might I say, than the days you're working out. And think of this as an analogy with anything that you're doing in your life that you may be experiencing burnout from, or even in a literal sense. Say you're going to the gym every single day. You're working out super hard. You're lifting heavy weights. Yes, you're working out, but scientifically, you will actually not see progress if you're not fueling your body, if you're not resting and recovering your body. Because when you're working out, you are breaking your muscle, tearing your muscle, not breaking. And in order for the muscle to build, you have to rest, you have to recover, and then the muscle builds stronger. And that's how it is with everything in life, not just working out. With work, yes, you're working hard, you need to rest. Think about studying. Didn't your teachers ever tell you you can't cram for a test at the last second and it's not going to work? It's because your brain can literally not take in that much information at that quick of a rate. It has to rest and it has to take in the information and process it in order for it to go deeper into your memory. And I know that by experience because I was the worst procrastinator ever when I was in high school. So trust me, like cramming does not work. You need to build that muscle and that memory and practice things over time in order to truly develop it as a skill and for it to become second nature to you and to build progress and see that growth. Other ways you can tell when you're being burnt out, other than being really emotional, is you can be very irritable. So it doesn't mean just being sad, but I find myself so irritable when I am burnt out. Like I don't even want to do anything, or you wake up even if you're sleeping and you're still tired and you don't feel excited about things. You know, you're not looking forward to anything at the moment and you just feel like you're kind of slugging along, dragging along with your day today, barely carrying over into the next day. Like you should wake up excited and energized to go to work, to go to school and learn something, to go to the gym, because we are truly blessed to be able to do all these things. But when we're doing it so often and we're becoming so used to it, I feel like it's something that we take for granted. So one piece of advice I have to kind of rewiring your mindset is take a step back, look at things from a wider perspective. So when I'm really tired about work and I've been working so much, maybe, I'll finally get a day off, hopefully. And then I look and I'm like, okay, at one point, this was my dream job and I really wanted this and I was praying for this job and I wanted to get it. And for social media, there are so many days where I'm burnt out by social media. But when I really take a step back and I look at it, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I wanted this so badly. I used to try to manifest getting 10,000 followers and this was a huge dream of mine and now I have it and I feel almost guilty because I feel like I'm taking it for granted. Don't feel guilty for needing a break from things that you love. I'm sure other people have experienced this, but think about even when you hang out with your very best friend or with your boyfriend for too much time. Like there is such thing as having too much of a good thing, and that's not because you don't like it. That's not because you don't get along with that person. That's not because that's not your best friend, but it's because everything is good in moderation. And so even though you might love hanging out with that person, you can even get burnt out by people. You might love that job or you might be working really hard at your goals, but alone time is just as important. Because say you're really working on building your career. Your career truly means nothing if you don't have a strong backbone and a strong mindset within yourself to support that. Does that make sense? Say my goal is to blow up and go absolutely viral, that I'm famous, for example. Say I do work hard enough for that to come true. If I'm not building up my stamina, if I'm not building up my mindset and my self-love and my self-concept for myself, all while growing my career, that's not going to align. Hypothetically, if I become a mega famous superstar, but I don't have a strong backbone or strong self-love or strong self-discipline to support it, I'm not going to succeed, and that fame and that success will mean absolutely nothing because I won't be at the same level as my career or my goals. That's why it's so important to have balance. What if someone becomes successful, but their health is literally so shitty because they were so focused on their career and making money that they were completely compromising their physical and mental well-being? That success isn't going to last long. They're not going to be able to even maintain that level of success if they're not in a good physical and mental state to be maintaining that. Some ways that will really help to cope with burnout is 1, getting enough sleep and prioritizing rest. And I'm a hypocrite. I'm a freaking hypocrite for this one, but I feel like that makes me an even better source because take it from me, you want your sleep. Being burnt out is horrible, but being burnt out and tired is a whole nother thing. Please try to get your 8 hours. If you struggle with sleeping, I recommend trying magnesium. That can really help with your sleep. If you have trouble getting to sleep, getting off your phone, oh my goodness, lowering your screen time, especially before bed, at least putting on the night mode. But seriously, try for the last hour before bedtime, try to stay off your phone, read a book, journal, do something. But our phones really do affect our quality of sleep. And if you really want to help feel rejuvenated and well rested, you need good quality sleep. Also, you could try tracking your sleep somehow, make sure you're getting enough, make sure you're getting it within the right hours for your circadian rhythm. I really want to get an Oura ring. I know they're pretty expensive and not really affordable for everybody, but my birthday's coming up, so I might try to treat myself for my birthday because I just really need to look into my body because yes, if you are going with work and working out and your dream career and working on your friendships and putting everybody else before yourself, you are going to fail. You cannot sustainably carry out your day-to-day tasks and all these goals if your body is not feeling its best. You might be able to for a little bit. While we are young right now, you might feel like you can go. Like you are on go mode. Oh my gosh. A few years ago even, like I could do anything off of no sleep. I would pull all-nighters and go to school. I would stay up on my phone all night. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep every single day, and I would act like it's a flex too. Like I don't know what it is about when you're younger. I don't know if this is anyone else. Like you feel like it's a cool thing to not get sleep. It's like the I'll sleep when I'm dead mentality, but like no. Sleep now, please, because it will catch up to you when you are older. I promise. Time management is huge, huge, huge. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience. I used to be the worst procrastinator ever. I still am sometimes, but I'm working on it. Getting a planner is huge. If you don't want to take the time to write stuff out, at the very least, utilize your calendar and reminders app on your phone if you have it, because it makes all the difference just knowing when you have deadlines, when you have meetings, when you're supposed to hang out with certain friends. Like having everything out on the table really, really helps to have a visual like layout and see, you know, maybe this day looks a little too busy for me, and being able to mentally prepare like, okay, I know I have this day off. I'll keep this for myself. I'll get these things done on this certain day. One day will be a social day, one day a productive day, one day a work day, and one day a rest day. It's very useful for me to help kind of gauge my week and what days I'm going to dedicate to specific tasks. And again, using check boxes, I know I always say this, but using check boxes really, really helps. It triggers a little ding in our brains that makes us feel very fulfilled, and it makes you want to keep fulfilling and completing your tasks and checking more boxes. And again, like just a calendar, it helps you stay organized. Yeah, staying organized with a planner is everything. Staying organized in general is super important. And this goes with like school assignments. If you have a huge school project due at the end of the semester, please don't wait for the last second. Procrastinating will literally kill you and make you miserable. So try to, you know, say I'm going to work on a few pages of the essay this one week and then a few this week. And then if you just spread everything out a little bit, you will feel so much better versus if you just save it for the last second and do it all in one night, and you'll be completely miserable for the next week. Also, I feel like really taking advantage of daylight is huge. I am such a night owl, so I'm always like up at night trying to think of ideas and get work done and edit things. It's honestly, I'm literally can't be a hypocrite. It's 10 p.m. and I'm filming the podcast, but that's not my worst. I've actually filmed podcast episodes at like midnight. So this isn't the worst. I'm getting better. Time management. I did not manage my time well today, hence me being completely burnt out today. I had such a crazy day and I was trying to fit way too much into one day. And this week, let me just tell you guys how burnt out I'm about to be. Like, I see my schedule getting crazy, so what I'm gonna do is try to pre-prepare as much as I can. So for example, tomorrow I have work at 6:45 in the morning till 1 p.m. and then I have to go out, and then the next day, I mean, I don't have to go out, but I'm going out, I'm celebrating with my friends. And then the next day, I have a red-eye flight at 11 p.m. to New York, and that's a whole other thing. I am going to try my best to get to bed soon so that I can be well rested for tomorrow, because I know that I have a busy weekend ahead. I'm filming my podcast now because I know on Friday before my flight, I'm not going to want to, and I'm going to try to squeeze it in at the last second, and I'm supposed to upload on Fridays. So I'm trying to be a little more proactive about things. Overall, just time management in general and organization and planning is super, super useful. Also, setting clear boundaries. So say, you know, your friends, for example, are pushing you to go out and you're just so exhausted. This actually would happen to me very often. Love you, friends, but sometimes I am so exhausted, I don't feel like going out. And right now, that's just not a priority in my life. There's certain days where I'm just so exhausted, and I used to prioritize like going out like as important as my career and my mental health and my self-care, when really your self-care and your mental health, it needs to be at the very, very top. But there have been many times, unfortunately, throughout the years where I prioritize my social life ahead of that. Obviously, you never want to neglect your friends. So if I didn't go out with them this night, I'm like, okay, but let me hang out with you. Let's grab lunch next week, or let's talk, or whatever. And so it's all about balance and finding what works out for you, but don't be afraid to say no. My whole life, I'm always so afraid to say no to plans. Like, even my friend told me one time, she was like, I feel like you always say yes to everything. And at the time, we kind of took that as a good thing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm a yes person. I'm so spontaneous. I'm so outgoing. I'm so booked and busy. But like, really, no, I am exhausted, and now I never want to go out because I literally burnt myself out before I even turned 21 just by partying and being so social. And now I'm like, okay, let me chill. Let me relax. And same thing goes with setting boundaries for work. Dedicate time for work and time for fun and time for you. Don't let work projects follow you home and be taking calls when you're supposed to be on your day off. Like, you can relax. And that's a huge tip I have, is leave work at work. And that's something I struggle with still sometimes, and I'm practicing. But say, you have a really hard day at work. This project is just like tormenting you and really haunting you in the back of your head. Or you had a negative experience with a customer. Leave all the negativity at work. Put on your work brain when you're at work. Put on your you brain when you're at home with you. Put on your social brain when you're with your friends. Like, trying to learn how to separate all of those different aspects of your life will be really helpful, because why are you thinking about work? Like, you're not clocked in. If you're going to think about work, go clock in. Go clock in and think about work. But you are on your you time. They're not paying you for that. While we are talking about work, a huge piece of advice I have is it's okay to work to live and not live to work. So I had trouble differentiating this actually for a while. For most of my life growing up, I thought that your end goal in your career is like what your entire life was. Say I wanted to be an influencer. I thought my entire life would be about being an influencer. I thought that everything I would do in my day-to-day life leading up to that point would be about my end goal of becoming an influencer. Or maybe you want to be a doctor, or maybe you want to be a teacher. Like, that's not your identity. Your job is not your identity, and that, I think, is a common misconception that young people have growing up. I thought if I wanted to be an artist, everything I had to do in life was art, 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 and growing I sounded like a seal. Art, 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 and building my career to lead me to that point, to building my skill, which, yes, it's so important to do those things and practice hobbies and skill building and networking, making connections, and working up to your career. But there are so many other aspects of life, like you and your mental health and your physical health and well-being, and learning things in school and friendships and family and relationships. I think especially in this day and age when we see so much hustler, overnight millionaire, or we see people blow up, go viral, overnight sensation, girl boss, hustler type content, it pushes us to think that we have to do the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with working hard. There's nothing necessarily wrong with being a workaholic. I think it's a good trait to have, but you have to know where to draw the line. That's why it was so hard for me when I was doing TikTok as a full-time job, because I quit my 9-to-5 job to basically be working full-time, because doing social media full-time, you have to be constantly posting, constantly engaging, constantly thinking about your next video, scrolling through social media, trying to find inspo. Like, I truly felt like I was actually working all the time, because every single thing I did, I was like, oh, gotta get content, gotta post this at this time. And it became too much for me because I didn't have a balance, because something I once enjoyed, and that was a hobby and a dream of mine, which was creating content, started becoming work, and I didn't know how to differentiate the two. And then that work, being social media, was creeping into my personal life, because on social media, you have to share your personal life typically. And there was no balance and there were no boundaries. And that's ultimately why, I don't know if a lot of you know this, probably not, because this is a newer platform for me here on Hot and Unbothered, but on TikTok around 2022, when I had no other job, I was just doing TikTok, I took a major hiatus. I was posting here and there, but like not nearly as consistently as I was, not nearly as valuable content as I was, or personable content, because I was so lost, dude. I lost myself and I lost my grind. I lost my flow because I got burnt out. And now that I'm back on social media and I'm doing a balance of things, I'm doing my podcast and I'm doing TikToks here and there and I'm doing Instagram, I still have my own personal job and my own personal hobbies that I do. I like to work out. I like learning about mental health. I have my own relationships and friendships that I'm also balancing. And it feels so much better, you guys. It is like a breath of fresh air compared to how I was feeling about social media before. And for reference, the crazy thing is, before I started doing social media full time, I was building up to that point so hard, and I was hustling and grinding so hard, posting like multiple videos a day, because I wanted to grow and I wanted to get to that point where it could be a full-time job for me. But I was so burnt out focusing on TikTok that the second I got there to the place where I wanted to be, I was burnt out. And I didn't even care anymore, and I ended up having to take a break because I overdid it. To be honest, I overdid it. When it comes to working hard, it's about, yes, doing what you love, being passionate about your work, but don't let it consume you and don't let it become your identity, or your only identity at least. Also, what really helps me is trying my best to have a day outside of my shift. So say you work 9 to 5, I know some people who try to wake up a little bit earlier so that they can get a little walk in, or even just do a morning regimen, make breakfast, do your skincare routine, or again, like at the end of the night, get in bed with a good book, do a face mask, things like that really just add on to romanticizing your life other than work. I feel like when we're working every single day, we become so like stuck in the corporate America cycle, which is so horrible, and we're just like little robots who just like wake up, work, go to sleep, wake up, work, go to sleep. I think there is definitely more to life than that, but it's hard for us to balance it when we become so caught up in work the way we do. So it's really important to romanticize things outside your work life. So making plans for the weekend that you're looking forward to, maybe plan a fun little staycation or a little getaway girls trip, even if it's just something little like making yourself a nice dinner, putting on a cute pajama set, really work on winding down and knowing how to kind of let loose, unwind, and do something for you outside of your work day. Burnout occurs when we lack balance. So imagine like you're working out, for example, but you're only working out one muscle. Like it's leg day, but imagine you're only doing all your workouts focusing on one leg. Yeah, that one leg will grow, but it's going to be so unproportional to your other leg. One will be strong and one will be weak, but you won't be able to walk at all. If you have one super strong leg and one super weak leg, like you're not going anywhere. You might be like hopping on one leg, but you're not going to get anywhere quickly. The way to do it is to equally train all of your muscles and build strength in all of those categories so that you could be overall strong, overall growing, overall well-rounded. Or another one, imagine you're driving a car, but you only put air in one tire. Only one tire has air in it, the rest of them are deflating. You're not going to get anywhere. You're really not going to get anywhere. Like you have a better chance of like getting somewhere on like half full tires than like one full one and the rest all deflating. Does that make sense? I know it's a silly analogy, but I feel like that visual really makes sense in my mind of how important it is to balance all these aspects of your life. Because again, you aren't going to get very far without balance. It might feel good to excel in one thing, but I really think it's valuable to be equally proportionate, or at least try to be growing in other aspects of your life as well. So balance, balance, balance. Find time in your routine where you are incorporating something for your mental health, like reading or journaling or talking to a therapist, talking to a friend even, something for your social, which could be a fun little outing. It could be, again, talking to a friend. It could be going on a cute little lunch, and then something for your physical, like going to the gym, Pilates, just a walk or a hike, dancing in your room, something that makes you happy. And then of course work, figuring out your career, how you want to be successful, what your passion in life is. And then on top of that, hobbies. Maybe you want to do yoga, maybe you want to draw, maybe you want to sing, maybe you want to play an instrument. Like there are so many different things to do. And I feel like life is actually not about being tunnel vision for one thing. It's about wanting to grow and become a jack of all trades, but doing it at your own pace and being patient with yourself. Again, you're not going to go far if you're just hopping on one leg. Like you have to take your time, be patient. Slow and steady wins the race, guys. Think of the tortoise and the hare. Like you don't need to be like taking off full speed. You are the tortoise. Everyone knows the story of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise is slow, but the hare takes off and is running so fast everyone thinks it's going to win, but he gets tired out. He gets burnt out, and the tortoise, slow and steady and taking his time and maintaining his stamina, staying at a consistent pace, he wins the race. He wins the race. Even Sabrina Carpenter, she said that her mom used to tell her, like, just wait for your moment. The timing will be right. Like, you're the tortoise, Sabrina, you're the tortoise. And now look at her. She is popping off. And I want you guys to practice reminding yourself that, again, someone else's journey is not yours. And doing things quicker does not necessarily mean better. I'd so much rather take my time in getting to know something and getting to be good at it and really building up the strength and growth, opposed to just like knocking it out and getting it done and doing a half-assed job. So please remember to be patient with yourself and that all good things take time. And it's not about how many times you get knocked down, but it's about how many times you get back up. Of course, people get burnt out. Your favorite celebrities, your favorite influencers, influencers, the most influential people in life, they experience burnout. They've had their moments where they feel like giving up. Of course they have. They've had their moments where they feel like, is this what I want to do anymore? And just take a step back and look at things from a new perspective. Maybe you need a little break from something. That's okay, because when I took a break from social media, I realized how much I wanted to do it. I came back and I realized how grateful I was for my platform. Like being here with you guys right now, I would not have it any other way. Practicing gratitude is such a great way, honestly, to handle burnout. Of course, you can be tired, but remember the point in time where this was something you really wanted. So take a break and refresh yourself with that perspective. Remind yourself of the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you working so hard in school? To get a good education and to get a good job. Why are you working so hard at this job? To be successful and to make money so that you can live a happy life and provide for your family. Remind yourself why you're doing the things that you're doing, and that honestly really helps, but don't be afraid to take a break. Because in the grand scheme of things, you have time. You have the time to be patient with yourself. So cut yourself some extra slack, be patient, take a step back when you need it, take a deep breath, and I promise if you just trust in the divine timing of everything, things are going to fall into place and work out the way they're supposed to. You just do you. Keep going and maintain a balance and stop being so hard on yourself. Listening to your body is huge. When your body is tired, it's telling you something. Your body being tired does not mean, oh, let me push a little harder and keep going. Oh my gosh, especially with your cycle as women, cycle syncing is huge and it can really help in like your energy levels matching the activities you're trying to fulfill. Overall, just listen to your intuition. If your body needs a break, oh my goodness, give it a break. If you feel like you cannot stare at this project anymore, take a step away from the screen. Like doing things in increments and giving yourselves breaks and listening to your body is so crucial to help prevent burnout. And after a burnout, when you're getting back into it, you don't have to give up completely. Ease back into things. Like you don't have to go 0 to 100. Do a little here and there, take breaks, try to switch things up. Maybe instead of doing your schoolwork inside or in like a fluorescent lit room, like try doing it outside or with a friend. Try different ways to romanticize, again, your work or the less enjoyable parts of your job or whatever you're working towards. All right, I'm gonna wrap up today's episode there, but remember that you are not alone in feeling burnt out. I promise that it's something that everyone goes through and it will pass. Just be patient with yourself. Give it time and work on your rest and rejuvenation. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Make sure to leave a podcast review. Join our group chat on my Instagram, Brianna Gomez with 2 B's. Follow at Hot Unbothered on TikTok and Instagram. I have a Hot and Unbothered Pinterest board. I've got Hot and Unbothered everything. Check the links. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next Bri-day. Bye. Mwah.